Amazing Dr. Shervin Molayem. Dr. Molayem, thank you so much for joining us today. We have so many people from around the world who have tuned in to hear your important message. I know you have some amazing news to share with us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on here.
Oh, it's absolutely our pleasure. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Saturday to join us. For those who are not familiar with Dr. Molayem, I've had the pleasure of knowing him for over 20 years, and I've really watched his career blossom. Uh, we both graduated from UCLA. You got your dental degree at UCLA, and I believe you were also at USC School of Dentistry when I was there. That's where you got your perio degree. And Dr. Molayem has been actively involved in dental research. In fact, he was the founder of both the UCLA and USC Journals of Dental Research, which have been going strong now for over 13 years. He's published in the field of dental implants, periodontics. He was a co-founder of Synergy Specialists, the largest agency for traveling dental specialists in the United States. He has been practicing in private practice here as a periodontist in Southern California for more than 10 years now. And he's also been conducting research and has published now the most comprehensive connection to date between the mouth and COVID-19 in the Journal of California Dental Association. And this research is going to completely revolutionize the way we are looking at the connection between the mouth and the body in relation to COVID-19. So I'm so excited about the talk, about talking to you today. And really, first, I want the audience to get to know you a little bit better. Tell us a little bit about what you've been up to for the last 10 years and your experiences and how this kind of led up to your doing this research and publishing on this research in the California Dental Association. I think soon this is going to be picked up by major organizations around the world.
Yeah, so a lot going on that you mentioned. But first, a little bit about myself. With co-founder of Synergy. So basically, that's a specialty group where we have endodontists, periodontists, oral surgeons, and offices will reach out and basically we match them up with one of our specialists, and they go in on a once or twice a month basis and will produce and do the services. So I've had the role of a mentorship role for a lot of graduating specialists, especially periodontists, since I'm a periodontist. It's been a great learning experience, and I've also got involved in teledentistry with Dentulu and yourself, which has been amazing, and we believe that's the future. More recently, with the pandemic, I feel dentistry has completely changed, and I want to explain. This presentation will be on the mouth COVID connection. It's similar to kind of like the perio-systemic connection or perio body connection. But basically, I feel that, and I believe that as dentists, we have a role right now that we need to step up, and we've always been the dentist, and we're not the doctor, and people, that kind of joke has always been around. But this is our time to become the doctor, and I'm going to go into why and how in my presentation. It's really exciting. There's a lot of this is getting out. We just published our article. Myself and my co-author, she's a PhD periodontist from South Africa, and our work basically will show that there's a very strong link. And it's yesterday, for example, I was in communications with the president of the American Dental Association, and the president of the California Dental Association has seen this, read the research, and the former president of the American Academy of Periodontology. So it's definitely, I'm so excited, and I think definitely will make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, stepping back a little bit, first of all, it's it's been just amazing just watching your career from the beginning. I remember you when barely any general dentists were even thinking about implants. You were already training periodontists, GPs. I'm talking about maybe 10 years ago about implantology, about bone grafting, GBR. And I think working in so many different settings, you've gotten to see really the different ways dentistry is practiced, and really been actively promoting dentistry and helping dentists increase their knowledge, and really that's what this platform is all about.
Yes.
We can do one of two things: we can complain, or we can figure out solutions, and we can figure out how to get past this. And this is just one of many hurdles, right? Dentists
Yeah.
around the world have had many different hurdles, from people not recognizing the importance of dentistry in the general health. We talk about how our oral health is connected to our systemic health. I mean, your research now, I mean, we already knew this. It's a predisposing factor to dementia, Alzheimer's, atherosclerosis. So it's really interesting now to see actual published information with such a well-respected group such as yours on this connection. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I think. What do you think this is going to do? I think so many patients have been avoiding the dental office. It sounds like that's exactly where they need to be in many cases
Yeah.
for prevention.
Yeah. So I practice almost every day still. I see a lot of patients, and so I have a unique sense, and I travel to different cities, so I have a good lens on what's going on. I've seen people that haven't gotten cleanings in a while. We're talking, when was your last cleaning? Last year. Then you delve in a little bit more, and you find out it was actually 2 years ago. And not too many people have gone to cleaning in 2020 because of the pandemic. Maybe there was January and half of February, maybe, so mouths are dirty, gums are bleeding more, inflammation is more right now in people's bodies. So this all has to do with what's going on. And I want to say this is actually, this is the second webinar I'm doing on this topic. So it's very fresh. A lot of people haven't heard this information before. So I think it's very important, very timely. We are still in the peak of the pandemic, and the second wave. So we as dentists, we have an opportunity to affect and change and save lives with what we do.
Yeah, the majority of the stuff that's going on is in the upper respiratory system. We're right in the front line, literally, and I think it's not only an opportunity but also an obligation. I was dumbfounded at some of these restrictions that they were placing on dental offices at the beginning, and the limitations that we had as dentists practicing. And I feel like we play such an important. We can, and we should play such an important role. And we should be encouraging our patients to come back. I think we saw so much misinformation about staying away from dental offices.
Yeah.
I think, and I'm hoping this research empowers not only the dental offices but the patients to feel more secure about coming in for dental work, but also how important it is, and how this could really affect people's health, and how it'll affect their recovery.
Yeah. So I want to go back to a point that you made. So throughout my career, you're right, I have been kind of a defender of dentistry in the sense of when Instagram first started, I was one of the early ones that had, I got the handle dental surgeon. I was posting a lot, and really, our generation is the generation where, just like Facebook, just like a lot of, everything is an open source. We are all about, we're not hiding anything. Information is free to flow out and come in. So that's what I've seen, and I believe through teaching, through educating, through communicating with other dentists, sharing tips, I benefit as well. So it's a two-way street. Everyone wins. And people through the social media right now, they're learning how to do wisdom teeth. They're feeling comfortable placing implants. Maybe they saw someone 5 years ago who never placed an implant, and they saw all of a sudden he's doing sinus lifts now. it motivates them and inspires them, and they're following their page and they're following their cases. So it's an amazing world we're living in right now.
Yeah, I know you've been actively involved in research. You set up those two, the research magazines at UCLA and at USC, and they've been thriving since you first established them about 13 years ago. But I think really interesting is this new freedom of sharing information. We see it in different capacities, and I think doctors being able to, whether they're in these closed groups or open groups. I mean, we have right now, just look at the participation from Morocco, from Germany, from England, London, Canada. We have people from all over the world hearing your message, and this is going to be really big, guys. The California Dental Association has already picked this up. The American Dental Association is going to be releasing more information on this. And now we can comfortably say that dentists are going to be playing a active role in battling this pandemic, and that we have a huge role to play, how important it's going to be. And they're finding out, just like we've mentioned to our patients for years, is that the mouth is directly connected with the rest of the body, and that it has implications on other diseases and how we recover from them.
Yeah. I want to just explain give a little tip on something that I do and use in my practice. How much time do we have until we start?
Yeah, go ahead. No, we have time. We have another 10 minutes before we start the actual presentation.
So just to make this a little constructive, I want to go through what I say to a patient. Let's take this to what you're going to do when this weekend is over on Monday morning. Let's set the stage for the presentation that's about to come. And also, let's go over what to say to the patient. Because if you hear what I'm going to say, and it goes through one ear and out the other kind of thing, and you don't know how to explain it to the patient, then it defeats our purpose. So when we're talking to a patient, we want to first put ourselves in their shoes. They don't know that, for example, a tooth is held by a jawbone, some of them. So when I'm talking about you have bone loss, some people really don't get it. So you have to set the stage. So and I'm talking about, let's talk about how to explain periodontal disease. So first, I'll say our teeth are held in our mouths by our jawbone, and it's held in their place. And when we get bacteria, when we get plaque, and, again, people don't know what plaque is. Plaque is the white thing that when you wake up in the morning and you scrape your teeth and you see some white stuff, that's the plaque. And that has a lot of bacteria in there. That bacteria then leaks underneath. Remember, these are microscopic bacteria. They leak underneath. And depending on how deep it goes, it can get into the bone. And the bone is, again, what's holding the teeth. And that bone, with time, can go lower, can get holes in there, and ultimately it can cause the tooth to get loose and it's the number one cause of tooth extraction or loss of tooth. So now they kind of understand a little bit more. And so now you want to explain how this affects their body. Let's talk about periodontal disease. How does it affect your body? Well, in one surface of a dirty tooth, there's over 100 million bacteria. These are different species. They have a whole community. And these bacteria, when they leak toxins, remember, they have weapons. They leak these weapons, the toxins. They seep through, they get into our bone. And I'll show on an x-ray. Do you see, an x-ray is not completely white. It's porous. The bone is white and there's little holes. I'll say, do you see these little holes in there? These holes are blood vessels in your bone, and you have a lot of blood vessels in your gums. Now, this is how the toxins and the bacteria get into your bloodstream. Once it gets into your bloodstream, all it takes is 1 minute for it to reach the bottom of your foot. When our heart beats 60 beats per minute, that's, blood flowing and pumping. 1 minute it takes to get to our foot. That's why when they do an IV, within 30 seconds, you see their eyes are starting to get glazed. That's because it's traveling to the brain already in 30 seconds or so. So now they kind of understand, whoa, 1 minute, that's a lot of bacteria. This could affect, again, loss of tooth. This is bacteria in the infection in their body. It can cause bad breath. And you have to see what his, sometimes you'll say something and look at their body language. You might say it can kill you, it can do this, and it causes bad breath. They go, oh, bad breath. Okay, now I got to do something about it. So for everyone, it's something different. Or you're saying, it leads to heart attacks, strokes, cancer. You could lose, possibly the tooth, and you can't, chew as well. The people love their food. They want to chew. So you have to also find out what motivates people.
The conversation has to be dynamic. So when you say it might kill you, they don't react. But if you say it might make you have bad breath, all of a sudden you get their attention, right? The way I really love the discussion about language and how we talk to our patients and how we speak to our patients. When I have my implant courses, I tell them, I said, don't tell your patients you're putting screws in their mouth. Nobody likes the idea of putting screws in their mouth. And if you're saying words like your tooth is hopeless, or your virgin tooth, or some of the words that we use are just maybe to us it's normal, but to patients it isn't. So I agree. I think the language is very important. The way I describe it is I tell the patients, I said, when you feel chest pain, when a lot of people have chest pain, angina, there's a medication that they give to them. Do you know what that medication is? And then we start talking about it. I said, well, do you know where they put this medication? They want this medication to get to the heart as quickly as possible. And we talk about it, not being injected, not a pill to swallow, but they put it under your tongue. And I said, this is the fastest way to your heart. They get this medication, it dissolves, and it goes straight into your blood system, and it ends up in your heart. And that's a direct connection to your heart. So imagine all the bacteria that's constantly seeping into your heart. And imagine all the bacteria you're breathing in, going straight into your lungs, and the little air droplets, or swallowing it and going to your stomach. So then it starts visualizing. But I agree, you have to keep it dynamic, and you have to read them and see their reaction.
Yeah, and sometimes, great points. Sometimes we're also, as dentists, we're also scared to deliver the type of news to them. Like we feel like we're hurting them, hurting their feelings. You're gonna do more harm not telling them, not being passionately excited about getting infection out of their body, because if they feel that you're scared to deliver this news and you're scared to explain it to them, then they are going to be timid to want to do it. So your actual confidence and description and explanation of all of this is what will make them do it now, and eventually help them. Now, they have to remember, now there's some people that only do things if they're in pain. So that's why they get a root canal right away, that cavity that's deep or whatnot. But only 6% of gum infections and gum disease cause pain. So 94% of these things are silent. People don't know. They could have a loose tooth that's really infected and have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to also set the stage. So I have a picture of the different stages of gum disease and how the x-ray looks like. You have to have some good tools and to be like, look, this is your x-ray, and this is the one that is the most severe. Don't they look alike? And then they'll do a couple double takes and be like, yeah, that's like, look, there's no more picture after this. Like, this is the worst thing you could have in your mouth. The company didn't make another picture because this is, very advanced. It's an 8mm pocket. You have a crack underneath there. So they have to kind of see it to believe it. And sometimes they also have to see it in their mouth, because, I give my patients a mirror and then I show them with a probe. If they don't see it, they don't own it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if they don't own it, if they don't know it's them, then they're not going to do anything. If it's just like, oh, you're showing me on, you're telling me, okay, you're
Yeah. You
showing me,
gotta show it to
you're a lawyer building a case to try to help your client,
Yeah.
type of thing.
It
So
hurts me. It hurts me when I see patients. When I see even some of my associates or other doctors, they go straight to the X-rays. They barely say hello to the patient. Maybe a hello, and then they start reading out 12 DO, 15 MO, and they just start talking to their assistants. And then they allow they let the assistants do most of the talking. I think the first thing that should be performed is establishing rapport with the patient. I'll tell you real quickly in a couple of minutes what I do that works really well in my office. First of all, I learned this from Dr. Jin Kim, by the way, another great periodontist, and I've been teaching with him for almost a decade now. He actually has a microscope in his office, and he actually takes a sample and puts it on a screen. He literally projects the microbes and bacteria moving on the screen, and shows the patient the bacteria. So it's visual. I've been advocating patient education videos for the last 10 years, and I let them watch videos and let someone else validate it. And I just confirm what they just saw on
yes, you
a
do. I know
professional
you do
video,
that.
right?
Yeah.
So intraoral cameras. Dentulu, we have the world's first intraoral cameras that we actually give to patients, and we send it home with the patients, a consumer intraoral camera. Because, in every single operatory in my office, I have the biggest television I could possibly fit on the wall, and I put the camera in their mouth, and I let them see it. I mean, I can describe to you what plaque looks like, but why don't you just look at it, on the back of your central incisor? So I think that goes a long way. And then another thing I do is I just go straight to Google, right? Everyone trusts Google. I go to Google, I say advanced periodontal disease or advanced bruxism, and I press the images, and I literally just show them, and I say, you know what, this is what I want you to go home and go do some more research. None of these are my cases. This is just information out there. And so, yeah, you have to convey that information for them. And the last thing I want to say is, if the dentist, and this is why this is important to us today, and this is why I want you to share your message. If the dentists don't believe in it themselves, if the dentists don't feel like they're true doctors, if the dentists don't believe how important this is to the general health, then it's not something they're going to really convey really well to the patients.
Yeah.
And I think and evidence and research like the ones that you guys are publishing is just going to play a huge role in educating the dentists to then educate their patients.
Yeah, like you said earlier, it's been linked to atherosclerosis, a 2 times higher chance of heart attacks and strokes. So these statistics should be flowing off of the tongues of every dentist's mouth.
Right. I agree.
They should know that there's a 2 times higher chance of a stroke with people that have
Atherosclerosis, dementia, Alzheimer's, prostate gland enlargement, premature births.
Yeah. Certain cancers have been linked to it. It's actually the worst type of cancer. One of them, pancreatic cancer, has been linked to it. When people get cancers, it's the more aggressive form that has been linked to it. I can go on and on. The whole immune system is connected.
So, Doc, I wanna give you enough time to go through your presentation.
Right.
So everyone around the world, all our viewers, we are now going to get some incredible research. And again, Dr. Molayem is we have had the pleasure of being one of the first platforms to share this information around the world with everyone else, from India to Germany to France, London, and this is going to be all over the news. It's going to be picked up by all the news outlets, and we are now going to see what a crucial play dentists can play within, the prevention of the exacerbation of this pandemic, how the oral health relates to the general health in relation to COVID, and some of the things that we can do, maybe in the testing or treatment that can actually help address, the exacerbation of COVID-19 in our patients. So with that, Dr. Molayem, I'm so excited to hear this. Maybe you can share your screen and we can begin the